Hey BLs, my name is Simon, welcome back to another game dev video. Today I'm going to animate this little bug I've created, or software bug, which is the currently right name for the enemy. It's of course for the game Omni I'm working on with my friend Joe, and this is how it looks. It is about half the size of Omni, pretty flat looking, which is made to afford him jumping on it. And then it's of course in some poisonous colors and with red eyes, just to sort of tell that he's evil. So hopefully that will be good and work well. It's of course the smaller version here. We're going to animate the small sized one, and as you can see, this one has no legs or alike, because either I'm going to draw them as straight lines and then animate them in spine. I think that's what I'm going to do. Alternatively, I can animate them procedurally through code and draw lines, but I think the animations will be exported in twice the original size when used in the game, so that could give some trouble. So right now I think we will simply do as I just said, have it in the original size and then draw some lines, which will be the legs and alike. But we have some different parts here, and one part here is our main body here. Then we have this up here. This one should of course be able to, if I do something like this, this will go behind this other part here, and then this will be on top of that. And then the head should be able to bob a little as well, so I think we will take this off also and put that again behind the other part here. So like remove this and then say like that, and this and this and this, and then this. So we have our head. So now we have our parts, and this is how I usually, when I animate, when I use spine and I animate small pixel scales, this is what I do. You can see on the Trello and on Twitter. I'll put some links in the description, of course, where I in general try to update how progress is going, and I have asked my co-worker Joe to also do that. But in general I will cut the sprites up sort of like this, and then I'm going to put them into Photoshop and cut them. From there I will export them into spine, and then I will animate from there. Now it of course also needs the legs and the antenna. The legs will go from the middle section here, and then we will have 3 legs and then 2 antennas. And the antennas are going to be simply this color, and then they're going to be, I think we'll just make 2 parts. So we'll do like, this is one antenna, and then this is the other part, and maybe do something like this, whoops, just to split them up a little. I think that could look possibly good. So if that's the antenna, then we need the legs, and we need 3 legs, and then we're going to mirror them on the back as well, of course. So we need them both being in this outline, and we need a black outline for when they are on the other side of it in the shadow. The same we're going to do for this, so we're just going to add a black one and a black one, because then we have these. The legs is going to be, let me see if it goes up here and then down, that's one. One of them is going to be pretty short, this one, because it's turned outwards towards us. So we're going to do something like three here and 3 here. That's how it's going to look, the upper part of the leg. And then it's going to go down, and that part is going to be just a line. That's going to be like this, I guess, because that's going to be straight down most of the time. And then another part here, which is the sort of foot, I guess, because I think that the box have like a third part that is like more like a foot-ish, not fully. So I think I'll have that here as well. Yeah, you can see like from this picture from Google, we have like, if this is our upper leg part, we have this middle section and then a smaller section in the end, which will be a little more soft. So I think I will make these two lines pretty stiff, like these are just straight lines. But then the last one here maybe be a little like bent or something like that. I think that would be just stiff as well. No reason to do anything too complex about it. But we can do the same as we did for the antenna here up here. We can like give it these little things here, because if we go to the side here, see there's like some small sections here, and we can sort of imitate that in pixels by doing that, doing it this way. I think that will look quite good. So if that's our middle leg or center leg, and in general I think these two parts here are going to be reused for the other legs as well. So I think then we just need a little longer one here, maybe something like, oops, let's just say replace, like here, and then our hind leg is going to be even longer, like that. And then we're going to take, actually let's just push these forward so we have a nice square here. All these we're going to copy, and then we're going to do the black versions as well, like this. And this one technically can just use the same, but let's just make another one here just to be sure. And actually maybe these should be, the legs should be one longer down here. I think that could be nice. Yeah, I think this will do for the legs and will look good. So now we have this part here, so I'm going to copy this and let's just do like use new size, top left, yes. Now we have this, and then we can see save. We just save it to desktop for now and say software bug save. And then it's time to open this in Photoshop. And what we need to do in Photoshop is pretty easy. We just need to cut this up. So we do something like this. We will call this butt.png, and there's a reason I'm calling this PNG, and I will show you when it's done. But in short, it is because when you call it PNG, and then you can go and file and generate an image assets, and then it will, all the images or folders you call PNG, it will export as singular images. So that makes it easy to like put it into Spine, for example. There's also existing a Spine script for Photoshop, which will import it directly into Spine, but this is just my preferred way of doing it. The other thing could possibly be easier, but I like having this sense of control. Okay, and now where we have cut it all up in pieces with names that is somewhat easy to remember and in the order we need them to be in, and we also put all these pieces inside a folder called setup.png, which will export all of this as one image as well. because then we have something to go from where the things need to be placed and stuff like that. So now we're ready to export it and animate. So we go to generate image assets, and then we go to save as, and we go to Omni animations, software bug, and we simply save it as software bug. Okay, you can then see if we go to animations and software bug, then we have our Photoshop file here, and then we have this software bug assets, where we should have all the parts we need, and currently they're pretty small, so hard to see, but they are there, and then we're ready to animate. Okay, and now when we are in Spine and have started up a new project, we're just going to say save project as, and make sure that we are saving it in the same folder as our other animation stuff. So we go into Omni, animation, software bug, and then just save it software bug.spine. And yes, I already saved it once, but just to showcase it to you. And then, because we are in that folder now, we will have it in our assets over here, our images, and we can also change to have this as our main image, so we don't have the subfolder. So now we just have this folder as our images. And then we start putting our setup out here, zooming a lot in. And actually we're going to settings, because now we're working in small scale. So we are going to have a small editor scale, and then we're tackling off linear filtering. And I think that's about what we need. Yes, save. So now we have our image out here where it belongs. And we can try to position it here somewhere where we think it will look the best here. So like 11.5 and no, okay. Let's say 8.5, then it's sort of in the middle, I think. Maybe even 7.5. Yeah, I think that's sort of centered, and yeah, I think this is sort of where we want it. And then, because this is just to show where we need to put the different stuff, then we can say set the color of it and make it sort of transparent or something like this. That should make it able for us to see everything. Good. And then we need to put everything in, and better do it in the correct order. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our, let's see, hind thigh, and then a hind leg, and we're going to position these a little later. Right now we just want them for positioning reasons. Then we need our hind front leg and another hind leg here, and then we need our hind center and another hind leg, and we of course need all the feet as well. Hind foot and hind foot. And actually, if we go into the drawer here, the thing most away from us is the feet. So if we're going to say like this one is going to be most away from us, and then we're going to have this one and this one, and then we're going to have this leg, this leg, and this leg, and then in the end we're going to have this one So this is the order we need them in, I think, to make sure they are in the correct order away from us. But right now we're just going to let's just move these away so they're not in the way for us. Then we're going to add our hind antennae, and then we can, that one we can take already. So if we do something like here, and that would be 10, I think. Yeah. And hind antennae sensor 14. Yes. That would be that one. And then we need our head here, and I'm trying to match it up as closely with the pixels as possible to make it look as good as possible. So I'm taking this here, good. And then our front antennas, so front antenna root would be was it about here? We can just toggle off the head. Yes, that's about there. So 10 and 14. And normally if it was bigger graphics, I wouldn't be as careful to position them fully correctly, but because it's pixels, we want them to align sort of as well as possible. So that's what I'm doing. And I think I'll just skip to when I have all of these things set up. But this is the progress. And then afterwards we're going to add bones. Okay, and now all the bones are set where they should be, I think. So now we're ready, not the bones, all the images are set where they need to be, and now we can delete the setup here. And then it's about time to make some bones. And we do that, we start with the root here, and I think we start from center and going forward like this. Let's just have it at a smooth position here, and then we have the head like here. Oh, wait a moment, if we set, this is the torso, good, and then the head really starts already there, so we should actually have our head going from here and forward. So if we say this one is, this should be 360 as well, and then this should be 0 in the world and 0. Good, and this one is head. You can see now these are changed. So if I change this one, the torso, then the head will also move with it. And this will be our starting point, because then when we move the object around, this will be the origin, the center of it. So that's how that works. And then from the head we need both the front antennae and the hind antennae. So if we, this one should go up to there and then further on. So we say from here, on the head, from here to here, and we set it like pure number. And 0, yes. And then we, from this one, set it from here and onward. So that would be, again, pure number. Like that. and that is front antenna root and sensor. It's a good idea to have like some names that you can remember in the future and some names that make sense, like using the same way of putting the names, because if you're going to use some of them in programming and refer to them, then instead of having a lot of weird names, you can easier access them because you know what they're called. So that's always to prefer. And good. And then from the head we also need from our hind antennae. So that would be from here to here, I think. So 5, and we need this one to be pure, good, and 0 here, good. I think this one is that, yeah, that's 0 to good. So from this one we then need to also go to the end here, and that will be again just a pure number. And then we got the antennae, so now we have this part of it done. Then we need to go back to the first piece here and then say if we like use this should start from around here. So again we select the first one here, and then we put one big bone here, and that should be 180. And again we strive for the purer numbers here. Super. So that's the main body with bones. Now we need all the legs. So I think if we apply all these things to it, so this will be butt and hind and antennae root and hind and antennae sensor. Good. And another thing, we want to change the name of the whole skeleton, so this will be where bug. And the reason we want to do that is because GameMaker is not too fond of having multiple skeletons called the same thing, so the default name of just being skeleton is not really a good idea. But we want, now this is as it should be, so now we can say the torso is here, good, because then we can just untoggle the whole thing afterwards. And then we can say the butt should be where the butt should be. And the head where the head is. And the hind antenna sensor and the hind antenna root and the front antenna root, front antenna sensor there. So see, we just apply all the images to the right bones. So now these are done and the head is done, I guess, and the butt is done. So now we just, like, if we rotate this, then this whole thing rotates, but we can still like wiggle the butt here, and I think we're going to put a mesh on this one, but we will do that in a moment. Now we just need to put the rest back together, and yeah, we'll just see that done in a moment. And then we have our last here, which is the hind thigh, hind leg, and hind foot there. And then we can make everything visible again, and our skeleton should be fully working now. So now it's about time to figure out some default pose for it, because now we have we start with our front hind thigh that should always go like backwards, I think, and then down. So if we do like something like this for that one, and now I question myself whether this is good enough, or yeah, I think it is. I think if we do something like this, maybe like a little more curvature on it, and if we then say that our whole character needs to be moved, whoops, torso needs to be moved down. Like 2.8, I think, maybe. Oh, so maybe 8.5. Or maybe 7.5 actually. Oh, 8.5. This is 2 though, but I think 8.5. Yeah, this should be good. And then we can fine tune this one to be, this is where I want this leg to be. And then we grab our front center. I want that to be sort of going backwards as well as the default thing, I think. Something like this. And then our front thigh should go way more forward, I think. And it's okay that it obscures the eyes here. I can live with that. Then we have our antennas. These can be like something like this maybe. Yep. And then we need our hind legs as well. And if we start with the oops. I think I'll just untoggle. Down here you can untoggle whether you want to be able to select images. So now when this is off, I can do something like this, and then we can say, because then we only have the bones to really do anything about. And then we can do something like this. So now we have like our hind leg here as well. And then I think our hind center, this one, should again mirror sort of the other leg, but not fully. And we can do that easily by this. Oops. And then our front leg. Can easily just go like down here and maybe even just something like this, because then we have this, and then we have our like default pose. Cool. So that's how I generated a skeleton up in Spine, or how you can do it. As I said, there is a script you can use in Photoshop, but because we needed to reuse some parts, we might as well do it this way, and because this is the way I prefer to do it for the control. But now we have this, our little bug, and yeah. Then I think I'm going to add some constraints. And what constraints, that's these things, is a way that we can make sure more exactly where the legs are going to. But the problem is these are 3-part legs. Nah, I think we'll do this one without constraints and see how it goes. Yeah. Then we're going to animate. And here things are a little different. And if you open Spine, it might not look exactly the same in either of these screens. Up here in views, you can select what things you want to show. I just prefer having sort of these things because then I can, like for example, have a view up here while I'm focused in on bigger projects and animating parts. Then I can have a full view up here, or I can have like a precision view. I like that. And then the weights. Oh yeah, that was that. We wanted this one. If we just say, we can select the image again. This one we want it to be a mesh. And we simply toggle the mesh button down here, and then we say edit. And then we say create, and we have one there, and 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 there. And then we just delete the outer ones here. Because there's nothing in this part of the picture anyway, so no reason to have that. And then we can say generate, 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 and generate. 33. I think that will do fine for what we are trying to do. And archive, I don't know what that is. And then we can say weights, and we can add our main bone here and bind it. And right now it should just bind the whole thing here. Right. There's not much to calculate, please follow. It's because it can calculate between more bones, but we only selected one bone, so it should just be everything should be yellow, yes. And then we have our, if we take this one, it goes about here, so if we make sure to take, if we like take another bone here, our torso, good, and then make sure that everything past this point should be torso. All this should be somewhat torso, because then when we toggle off changing images here, use this, then it will like merge a little better here, which I like a little better. So then we can make it a little more living. I don't think it's needed up here. I think that one works okay, quite okay, I think. Good. And then to the animate here. And first we're just going to do one called idle. And here we just, in the first frame, we're just going to key all these, making keys for all of them, making sure that nothing changes that we don't want to change and stuff like that. Mostly on this I have a specific reason to it. Mostly I do that, I key everything in the first frame to make sure that the standard pose is the standard pose. And then if we say like, it should breathe like this fast, then we can copy everything here and say it to, let's say, yeah, 40. I think that's a good length. And then we have 20 here. Good. I don't want it to move its torso too much. I think that can keep still okay. Maybe it can, I don't know, move a little up, but then we need to fine tune the legs. But that's okay, because when we fine tune the legs, we just change our ghosting here and say we want keyframes before. Like this. Good. Because then we can like alter this until it resembles the position it was in before. Oops, that was the wrong one. It's a little hard with the hind legs here, but it is doable, and I think it looks better with that when there is some legs behind, when they're not just, you know, because then you can see it will push itself up a little as it breathes. So there, and there, and the other bone behind here. Something like this maybe instead, so it like pushes a little more down on the, yeah, like that. And then lastly the front legs here, where we're going to have it like this, and this. And then we can toggle this one off again, because now I think it should be working quite well, this one. And then I think we need a little smoother curves on. Let's try with the default. Now we can use a little more, maybe in the lift here. No, a little less here and a little more here, or what? Now we need it to be a little more mirrored, so we take like this and this maybe. Yeah, I think this works. Good, so now we have it already in a little more in motion. Then we can take this one, and I want this to move a little more up as it goes. And then this should be a little more lift, no, a little faster actually, and then a little more slide in the end. Nah, still not right. And the thing about it is live curves, so okay, when it lifts up off here, the first one, the first key here, that should be a little behind, I guess, so not there. It's this one, I think. Yes, and then this one should be smoother. Should be This is something I just like to play around with. It's not like maybe a little less here. This will make it flick a little, so if we do like go above this maybe. Nah. Maybe in the small here. Yeah, I like that. That's like a little. Because I want it to be like, it shouldn't look too peaceful. It should look a little aggressive, but not too much either. So I think this is a good in-between step. I think maybe this one should be just maybe it should lift its head instead, like make a curve with its. Yeah, I think let's look a little better. And then I think actually this one should turn a little less here, so we can have like slightly smooth. And then of course we need the antennas to do a little work as well. So if we do something like this, then we can have it maybe go a little down here. And then, yeah, because then here, if you take it a little bit forward, it's more like they are following. So if we then take all these and say smooth them out, you can see it's more like they're following the lead of the head instead of good. And then we can have like down here, we can like get to do something like this. Good. And we need all of these to be yeah, and then I think if we can, and that's a small little thing, just to put a little more life into it, if we put like this one a little further ahead, then they're a little more organic because they are moving independently, and that looks a little better, I think. So that's the idle state, and I think I'll just hold it there for animating today, and then now you have seen how I make the animations. So now this animation should be working and is ready to be exported using the export function here into the game, and ready to be used as a sprite. I think I will, in some other future video, I will show you how exactly you can export things and stuff in Spine, but for now I will stop today, and I hope you have enjoyed this video and seeing a little about how you can animate in Spine and what you can do, and a little about what happens in the project of Omni, which I'm working on. This is one of the main mobs, enemies, things, and there'll be a bunch of them, bugs everywhere in the programming, but they will be easily defeated. So hope you enjoyed, and see you sometime in the future. Bye!